next now that we have the valve cover on. Next step would probably be carbs, but real quick I wanted to talk about the coils. So these are a Dynatek coil, Dyna DC3-1, 3 ohm. So I've already went ahead and I've made some aluminum brackets to get these things sunk in as low as I can. And these are actually pretty difficult to fit since I couldn't modify the original frame mounts since this thing's already powder coated and finished. But yeah, I had to actually, I had to build these brackets and get them kind of angled in a different orientation. And if you can see up here, it's gonna be a little tough, but my lead is on the bottom, so they're gonna come out of the center around, and I'll have the wires like that. So for a hookup, what you do, it's gonna be really simple. What I've done is I've cut the leads off of the old coils right at the base, and then I will use those and just put a ring terminal to screw into there and there on each coil. So it's a really straightforward install. Just the most difficult part was just fitting this under the tank. So it was a lot of trial fitting, but got it done. So anyway, all right, moving on from on the bike to off the bike. It's time to do plug wires. And as I mentioned, I went ahead and I cut the leads off the existing coils, or the old ones, as we're obviously not using those. So that gives you the correct terminal already. And then what we're going to do with these ends is strip and put on just a basic ring terminal. Now you could just crimp that. I'm going to go a bit further. I always solder any kind of terminals I put on, so I never rely on just a crimp. Personal preference, you can do what you want. But again, we're using a Dyna DC3-1 coil, and then their suppression core 7mm wires. So these are going to have, they're kind of custom fit, they're cut to length. So I'm going to go ahead, start fitting these things up, and get some new ends crimped on, and then we will go from there. We'll get those fitted on the bike. And then, so I'm pretty excited here, guys, for a really random reason. So these plug wires here, they have a different lead on them on the end. So normally on these old bikes, you remove the resistor cap. You just twist that off, and that's what it looks like. I usually always remove these, and I'm using a traditional, like let's say NGK style, which does not obviously use that. So anyway, these new ends use the cap. The kit came with some, but I'm excited because in my handy dandy carburetor kit here, or my box, I have been saving these for so long. I've never used them until now. I'm not even going to use the ones in the kit just because I'm excited to use them from here. So it's the little things in life, guys. Alright, people, I'm kind of excited here. This is the first real wiring I've got to show you guys on the channel until we get back on the CX500. So, real quick, here's some things I use. Just a generic set of wire strippers, some solder, some flux. I always keep a little brush with a bag in here just to keep it all clean. Wet sponge, and then this is a soldering iron I use. Old one from Radio Shack I've had for a long time. So a little heavy, a little bulky, but whatever. And then also, if I didn't mention it, a set of helping hands. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and do the new ring terminals on the end of the old leads for the coils. I'll show you my process for that. Oh, one more thing. These are some good crimpers for, well, yeah, we can use them on these. But good set of crimpers here for different style terminals. So anyway, usually you would probably do this and you would just strip back a portion, insert this, and then just crimp it and be done with it. Now that's fine, but I just, as an added thing of added security or added safety in the back of my head, I always go a little bit further with it. And I just like to solder the ends. So I'm just going to strip it back like normal. And then on this one as well, for some added security, I'm going to go ahead and add some heat shrink before we do this, so I'll be right back. That should be good there. Alright, step one, put your heat shrink on first. Go ahead and, while we have access to it, brush the flux onto my wire. Insert my terminal. And then from here, I go with the number 3. Give it a solid crimp. Alright, now like I said before, before the flux, this would have been a perfectly acceptable joint, but I just like to go a little further when I can. Start getting my gun heated up here. And basically what I'm going to do is just add a little solder to the wire within the crimp itself. Load it up. Start holding it on there. Whoa. There it is. We're just adding a little bit. Saturates, makes a nice joint. Then when we're done, we'll take the heat shrink up and get that nice and secure and protected from the elements. So we're going to go ahead and repeat. I'm going to strip this one back just a little bit further. And then before I try to put that end onto there, I'm going to actually clean it up again. So we'll start fresh, clean surface. And then if you follow the channel regardless of what I'm working on, and you want to know more about wiring, I'm going to start doing a full wire up on the CX500 I'm building, and I'll give you some more pointers, or showcase more of how I do it. I don't think I'll ever perfect wiring. It's just you're always improving with it, whether it be making it cleaner, making it more secure, making it safer, making it more attractive looking, who knows, just using higher quality components. Just always learning with wiring. I'll wipe off a little bit of the flux here. Slide that up. Just a little bit of added protection here. There it is. Leads for the new coils in the GS are done. Alright, so we need to actually put the leads on the back of the coil here, but to do that I'm going to have to remove this bolt real quick. So we're going to get this off, get access to it. Then there's a positive and a negative lead. So basically we're going to do the positive as the orange, okay? And then between the two coils, the difference, you have just a regular, just continuous hot. And then we have the ground, basically the ground signal. So the negative is going to be the ground signals. Now let's see, I labeled these beforehand, left and right. So orange is going to end up being positive, white negative in this case. I'm going to grab the screws for it. I think it's time to upgrade this tool. Fresh battery on a measly 6mm lock or nylon lock nut. All right. Like factory. All right. check for spark. Oh yeah, we got spark. All right. So I've already rolled this thing over a bunch without the plugs in it, just to try to circulate some oil and just listen to it. All sounds good. I've rechecked the timing numerous times, confirming it before I put the valve cover back on it, and we just check spark, obviously. Just threw the tank on, put it on prime, filled the carbs. So see if it starts. I'd expect there to be a puff of smoke with all the oil in the cylinders. idling. Just trying to let it heat up. I don't see any leaks or anything like that. And then I'm sure I'm going to go ahead and have to just check the synchronization of the carbs. Go from there. So once it cools down a little bit, I'll pull the plugs, read those, and then just check the head torque, and just keep working at it.